Advice from Darren after PRISM, Yahoo fought to protect data, and updates from Edward Snowden's data. All that and more this time on ThreatWire. Welcome to this episode of ThreatWire. I'm Shannon Morse, and this is your summary of what's threatening security, privacy, and internet freedom. Let's go ahead and start it off with Yahoo. Now, a recent article by Times has uncovered some information on how Yahoo came to be involved with PRISM. In a PowerPoint presentation published by The Guardian and The Washington Post, PRISM slides revealed that Yahoo attempted to fight a legal battle against the government request for data. They failed, and they started supplying data in March of 2008. The warrantless request for data was received by Yahoo in 2007, and sometime in 2008, a court order revealed that the ruling was upheld for the company to cooperate. Now, Yahoo fought back, saying that the request was in breach of the Fourth Amendment and unconstitutional. The request originally came under the Protect America Act, which was passed after 9/11, allowing acquisition of information on persons believed to be outside the U.S. Now, this act was incorporated into the FISA Amendments Act in 2008. Yahoo believed the request to be too broad and that it did not fall under the act. Because of national security reasons, though, the court ruled an exception to the warrantless requirement. The court judge said Yahoo's concerns were little more than a lament about the risk that government officials will not operate in good faith. This sort of risk exists even when a warrant is required. The government assures us that it does not maintain a database of incidentally collected information from non-targeted United States persons, and there is no evidence to the contrary. And with that, here is some practical advice from Darren Kitchen regarding PRISM.
Thanks, Shannon. I'm here hacking across Hollywood, and I'm going to read off my PRISM-proof notebook here as we talk about PRISM and this continued conversation, which is ultimately about privacy. And it's so great that this has now come to the mainstream and that we're having this conversation. So I wanted to take a moment outside of our normal coverage to really give you some practical advice when it comes to maybe protecting your privacy, if that's something you're game for. Don't get me wrong, we're going to be fighting a good fight. This is going to go to court, not just FISA court. This is going to become not just a court of public opinion, and there will be a movement. There's already a movement right now, July 4th, take back the Fourth Amendment. Links in the show notes for all of those. But as far as the matter of taking things into your own hands, I wanted to point out that while many are offended by the NSA surveillance, really what they're surveying is things that are volunteered. I mean, we can talk about expectations of privacy and email and things of that nature, but ultimately we live in a culture of convenience, okay? And convenience has always been at odds with security and with privacy, and we're volunteering all of this information on social networks like Facebook and Twitter with this, unfound expectation of privacy on those places. That said, in an interview just recently here with Edward Snowden, a person by the name of Matthias1 wrote, quote, "Is encrypting my email any good at defeating the NSA surveillance? Is my data protected by standard encryption?" To which Snowden replied, "Encryption works. Properly implemented strong crypto systems are one of the few things you can rely on. Unfortunately, endpoint security is so terrifically weak that NSA can frequently find ways around it." So what I'm talking about here is Snowden is saying, listen, your standard PGP keys, for example, are really strong. The NSA can't necessarily break those. However, they don't need to when they can just, say break into your computer or the third-party server where your private key is held. So I probably just went over a few heads, but let me break it down in such a way that it will make sense, and trust me, anyone can take charge of their own privacy and actually use these tools. You don't have to be a crypto expert. What I'm talking about when I say email encryption, or PGP, it stands for pretty good privacy. And that's putting it lightly. This stuff caused crypto wars in the 1990s between the NSA and this guy Phil Zimmerman, and this whole movement of people actually using strong crypto for their own privacy. The government wasn't really a big fan of it because literally they can't crack it. It's the same stuff they use, so why don't we use it? And this is actually a conversation that we've been having on Hack 5, our sister show, for quite some time. It's really about, well, convenience. But the thing is, it's gotten a lot easier. So when we talk about email encryption, it's very different than what you may be used to if you've ever encrypted a file with a password, or even just secured a hard drive or anything of that nature. Typically what you're doing in that case is using what's called symmetric encryption. And And what that means is you have one password to both lock and unlock that data. And that's fine, until of course you want to have conversation or correspondence. You know, if you and I both had to have the same key to break this, there's lots of problems with that model. Rather, asymmetric encryption, the way that this works, practically speaking, an analogy to this would be, say, your mailbox. Okay, so your mailbox outside right now may be such that, you know, anyone can send you a postcard. An email is kind of like a postcard, but an encrypted email is like an email inside of an envelope. And not just an envelope, but your mailbox might not be one of those, you know, where anybody can open it. An encrypted mailbox is such that you actually have a locked mailbox. Only you can unlock the mailbox, right? So only you can receive the mail that was put in it, but anyone can just pop a mail into the slot. The slot is open for sending, the lock is there for you to receive. And that's in a nutshell kind of how it works, the difference between asymmetric and symmetric. And so this is really easy to implement. You can set up a private public key pair right now, even in your browser, even using Gmail or Yahoo Mail or GMX or some of these other webmail providers, and not have to change your whole workflow using say, for example, Mailvelope. It's an awesome extension that uses a JavaScript-based library that allows you to do this awesome encryption stuff. And that public key pair, what that allows you to do basically is publish your public key, say on a key server, and give it to anyone. And now anyone with that key can send you encrypted email. And as long as you keep your private key secure, only you can read that email. So you do that vice versa, and everybody can actually communicate and have a good time with strong crypto stuff. Okay, so I can't get into in this little show here the nitty-gritty of how to set it up, but we've done an awesome show on Hack 5 showing exactly how to do this, like holding your hand, like click by click. It's actually really simple. You don't have to be using Linux and know how to program. You can do this on Windows or Mac or anything, just with browser extensions. And I think that that is the first step. Just getting everybody on a playing field where you're saying, you know what, I actually care about my privacy enough to generate a key pair and care about my computer security and things of that nature. And if you're one of those people, you should join us over on our sister show, Hack 5, because we talk about the conversation continuing all week on our Google+, but this is where it gets a lot more nitty-gritty. But I'm going to link to that in the annotations in the show notes so that you guys can check out that episode and actually empower yourselves. And if you have questions about this, please leave it in the feedback. And with all of that, I'm going to kick it back over to Shannon. So you guys take care.
Thank you so much, Darren. Now, recently, Snowden said that the NSA has conducted over 61,000 hacking operations, he believes. He says the NSA was hacking China and Hong Kong since 2009, including but not limited to public officials and students. Snowden wanted to show the hypocrisy of the US government when it claims that it does not target civilian infrastructure, unlike its adversaries. Not only does it do so, but it is so afraid of being known that it is willing to use any means, such as diplomatic intimidation, to prevent this information from becoming public. This news was released alongside information that the NSA was also eavesdropping on the Russian president in 2009. Now, Snowden has chosen to stay in Hong Kong for now, explaining that he wants to fight the US government in the courts because he has faith in Hong Kong's rule of law. Now, Edward Snowden is now the subject of a criminal case, and it was also revealed that much of the documents that he gained access to were leaked with a thumb drive. Last week, we asked how you feel about PRISM. Do you feel that it violates your Fourth Amendment rights against unreasonable searches and seizures? To our international audience, does this change how you feel about the US dominance of the internet? And our comment of the week comes from Blank Stares. Now, he said the people that were actually using their heads and being referred to as conspiracy theorists this entire time have been trying to tell you, and you know who you are, that things like this were going on. Take a tip from people who actually know for once. Take your eyes off the sitcoms and reality shows and listen to what we tell you that something exists or is happening. There is a good chance that we know what we are talking about. It's a good comment. Now, this brings us to our question this week. I'd like to know what your advice is. Do you have some more practical advice other than what Darren gave that we can use now that we know about PRISM? Let us know in the comments below. And remember, you can always subscribe at threatwire.org. You can find our community on Google+. That's where the conversation continues all week long, and it's very popular. And with all that, I'm Shannon Morse, and we'll see you on the internet. Because it's popular. Yahoo!